So after last episode being a complete failure, could this be our best episode yet? So welcome to this episode of Build a Nation, and in this episode we are going to recap the first half of the 2030 season. Now if you are new to the series, do not worry, this is a chance to get into the series from this episode, because we do recap all of the transfers that happened in the winter window leading into the summer and recap the fixtures throughout the first half of the season. And let me tell you, our live com could potentially make this the greatest episode of the series so far, so please make sure you do go down and drop a like on the video. Make sure you do comment below and let me know how you think this episode went. We've also spent the most amount of money that we've ever spent in this journey, so we have a live com to wait for, and we have the biggest spending spree ever in this series. I'm trying to impress you guys. I'm trying to impress you. Now, after relegation last season, you can see that our under-19s have come back with a bang, and we are top of the Rogaland division. I kind of expected us to be top of it. I'm not sure if I expect us to have won all 13 games, because we do have nations. We do have clubs like Sanners and Brina in there, and Holgerson as well, but we are dominating. So moving on to our transfers in then, the first one is Niklas Ødegaard, and he looks very talented. I brought him in as a backup option on the wing, striker and central midfield, and this is again one of the reasons why I did speak in a previous episode about how I'm going to try to bring in backup players who can play multiple positions. The fact we can only have 25 players, the fact youth players have to count towards that 25. I think it was important that we tried to find these players who were versatile in 3 positions. This guy's versatile in technically 5, both wings, attacker, mid, striker and central mid, and he's 6'4", so even though he can play in all them positions, he's also an absolute giant with 16 jumping reach. I think it's a 16. It's actually 18. Just so you know, I'm still recovering from my eye surgery and my vision is still a bit blurry. So if we sign some players who I think are wonder kids, you can forgive me, I couldn't see them. Finally, we've signed a new first choice goalkeeper. Coming in is Sebastian Hansen, 23 years old, comes in on such a low wage and as a backup. I mean, you can't complain, can you? Really talented, and the problem with London was his aerial ability. So I brought in a player who was roughly as good as London in all the other positions, but has a 16 jump reach, 17 aerial reach. I think it's 16 jump reach, might be 18 again, you never know. But really, really pleased with this guy. I think he's a very, very talented player. But the next one is our biggest signing yet. So what do we think? Christian Helmonen comes in from HJK in Finland, and he cost us £1 million. Now he's only 5'4", and that is definitely the downside to him. The upside is we battled off Arsenal, we battled off Lille, and we battled off Real Sociedad for this signing. We offered him first choice. I've spent big money. We paid $5,000 a week for him as well. But just look at his physicals for 5'4". Look at his mentals and his technicals at 19 years old. Honestly, what a talented central midfielder we've picked up. I'm really happy, really, really happy. And if we go back to the transfers, then you can see that this is from they all fell on last season's list. So you can see we spent $1 million last season, then total in the end, recouping $4.6 million. So some players who left in the window before it ticked over. Nazir went on a free. He's gone to a Bosnian club. Zitman has gone out for $1.4 million. Zitman just never improved technically, and he just didn't do it for me, to be honest with you. He never made me feel like we had an absolute world beater in central midfield. So he's gone out for $1.4 million, going to play in Germany. Maeda, we've ended up selling for $275k. Is a bit low for him, but we paid nothing for him. He got 4 goals in 14. he just, again, it's one of them players who just didn't look good in the match engine. Then the final two who fall into last year's list is Midskogen going to Lyngby on a free, so we wish him well, and Krog. In fact, actually, Midskogen we need to add to the former players list. We are going to check out that list in a second. And Krog went on loan to Gjøvik Lyn, our feeder club. And then going on to next season's list, then we have spent 750k so far, so let's go through them. First off, joining us back at the club is academy player Christian Knapskog. He has come back. Now, we paid him big, 6.5k, so I bit the bullet where I said in last episode I really didn't want to splurge on wages. We've done it on a couple of people, and I did say I wanted to rebuild our central midfield, and we've had to spend big to rebuild that central midfield. But with Helmonen, Knapskog and Sorter as an option in there, I do feel really pleased with our central midfield now. And he is still only 23 and he cost us 96k, so I can't complain. The next player coming in on a free transfer, again a player who just popped up as an option on deadline day, is Filip Sulzbacher. He is a Bosnian-Austrian goalkeeper. He's 6'2". He is actually decent. He's a decent keeper. He's playing for our B team, 11 games, 8 conceded. The B team is still one division below the playable leagues. We just need that one promotion, then we will be able to monitor and actually help them develop and get promoted. But at the minute we can't see their league tables, which is very frustrating. But I'm just dreaming that 1 year we do win promotion. It used to be based on reputation, but I don't really understand how they pluck from the unplayable leagues now. Now, the final player, I did take a bit of a punt. Now, I am always looking to develop local talent. This kid comes from Stavanger, comes from Viken, so that is in our local Rugland area. I paid 650k for him, which is a big amount of money for us. One of our biggest signings ever. But we did need right wingers, and he is quite talented. We brought him in when he was still only 17, and I do see potential there. Do I see 650k of potential? I'm not sure. But it was offered to me on deadline day by his agent, and I did decide to take the punt. Again, I couldn't see all his attributes, but I just wanted to take that risk on him. And to be honest with you, he actually looks quite good in the match engine. So for now, we'll class it as a good bit of business. We could address it in a year or two and say we wasted money. In terms of the outs, then, we have made money. So Schultz, one of our youngsters who we brought in from Austria, we've ended up moving on. Never played a game for the first team, played for the B team and went on loan to Gjøvik Lyn, where he never impressed. And that's what convinced me to cash in. We got 275 for him. The right back, who I didn't see much in, we've ended up selling to Molde for 475k. Considering we paid nothing for him 6 months ago, I think that's a good bit of business. Going out also is the American striker we picked up on a free. We sold him for 82k plus 50% of next sale. I didn't want to add that in. I don't normally add the 50% next sale into sales within Norway, but 82k just seemed way too cheap, and I was annoyed that they wouldn't offer more. To be honest with you, it was a bit petty to put that in. I'll make a deal. If they do end up selling them for big money and we get some money, I'll buy a player from them with that money. Does that sound fair? That sounds fair. The next player going out then for 90k was Barson, gone to Almira. Again, another striker. He was a Nigerian, the Swedish striker we signed. I swear down, my eyes are okay, I promise. Again, someone who just never really impressed. Never looked amazing in our B team with only 1 goal in 7 games. So we end up selling him for 90k. That does have a 50% next sale on because, well, it's not a Norwegian club, so we do want to rinse them best we can. The next player is Sagard gone to Malmo. That was more that his contract was running out and they snuck in and offered him a contract. So it is sad seeing academy player go. But then Steinskog and the youngster Isaac Idris, who we picked up last season, has gone out on loan as well. Now, if you remember, we actually only looked at him in the last episode because he only joined us last summer. But the fact that I do think this Gjøvik Lyn will be close to battling promotion this season, even though they've started really poorly and they are bottom of the 3rd tier. They've just been relegated from the 2nd tier. They should be doing slightly better than that. That's a little bit concerning considering their central defence is one of my players. The other one's on the bench. Who did they have instead of him? Okay, he's not bad, but I would put in Steinsku, to be honest with you, but... Okay, whatever. Let's forget about that. So that was our transfers, and like I say, we rebuilt our central midfield. So looking at how the season has gone so far, I am relatively pleased with how we look, and we are trying to rotate tactically a lot better, trying to use that more defensive tactic against the better teams. So as you can see, Ålesund, we got 3-0 victory before a 1-1 away to Sogndal before we beat Tromsø 3-0 to make it an unbeaten first month of the season. We then played Stabæk away and got a very gutsy 1-0 win. Losing away to Molde 1-0, it's not the end of the world. We did then bring Kristiansund back to Egersund and got a 5-1 victory before travelling to Brann and getting a 2-1 victory there. We then beat Odds 1-0 before losing away to Vålerenga. Now, this is one where I am completely taking the blame for. I didn't drop from our offensive to defensive tactic, and we did get caught out. We were too open, and it bit us in the backside. But we did then come back and play Hønefoss and get a 2-0 victory. We then played Strømsgodset and got a 2-1 victory before we just played Bodø/Glimt and got a 2-2 draw. In terms of the cup, we have gone through in the first round a 2-0 victory. Very, very heavily rotated side, and you can see I didn't actually make any subs as well. So we've started with our young, lonely 16-year-old keeper, Sørte Helland, Fanny in central defence, Hilm, Pereira, who's our only first-choice player who started the game, Slaveland, Ødegaard, Fiskerstrand, Vinicius, Horgum, our youngster from the academy, and Larsen. Now, Maxime Horgen's not doing bad this year. 3 games off the bench for us in the league, 1 game off the bench in the Europa Conference League knockout rounds, which you do know we qualified for and started in the cup, as well as 15 games for the youth team, 10 goals, 12 assists. So let's recap the Europa League then, shall we? So in the knockout playoff round, after going through in the groups, we came up against Stankum and got a 1-1 draw away from home, Sorte on the score sheet. Before we got 2-0 victory at home, Sorte and Bastians on the score sheet, and that saw us through to the round of 16, where we would come up against Everton, and unfortunately I do think that was a step too far. Now in the first leg, we got a 0-0 draw, and I guess the issue there is it was a home game, and a 0-0 draw at home means we're going to have to go to Everton and actually get something. But never fear. We went there with our defensive 4-1-4-1 tactic. We parked the bus. We did not have a single shot during the game, and we went through on penalties 13-12. 13-12 on penalties after not a single shot in the 120 minutes of game. And that saw us in the quarterfinals come up against Adina from Turkey. And if we could get through these, we would have Copenhagen, as both draws are made at the same time. And away from home, again, our central midfield, again, our team in general, has performed. And Knapsku with the goal saw us get a 1-1 draw to take back to Norway. And we raced into a 2-0 lead, and we ended up holding on, them scoring in the 91st minute, which did make me panic a little bit. But a 2-1 victory saw us go through 3-2 on aggregate into the semi-finals of the Europa Conference League against FC Copenhagen. And I didn't want to get too cocky, but I honestly thought the game was done, because we beat them 3-0 at home. 3-0 in the first leg, and we were just on fire in front of a small crowd. By the way, Everton was by far our biggest crowd of the season. I think it broke a record 300,000 for gate receipts, but only about 2,500 came to watch us here against Copenhagen. But I guess travelling up to Stavanger, a lot of people don't want to do that 1-hour drive. But Knapsku, Sorte and Hilm on the score sheet, 3-0 in the first leg. But never fear. We went to Copenhagen. We went to Parken, Copenhagen, and got a 2-1 victory, which saw us go through to the final of the Europa Conference League, 5-1 on aggregate. And I honestly think Sorte is our shout out for the season, by the way, so far. So we've got ourselves into the Europa Conference League final, our first final as Egersund, and it's in the Europa Conference League, our first potential European trophy. But before I announce who we're playing, brace yourself. Look at his attributes for the season. 10 starts in the league, 9 goals. 17 starts in the Conference League, 8 goals. He's been doing well, okay? He's been doing really, really well. Let's open the Conference League and see who we're playing. Yep. Lazio. We are playing Lazio in the final. Now, many of you will remember, we've played Lazio before last season in the Europa League knockout rounds, and we got beat 9-3 on aggregate. I'm a bit concerned. How are they doing so far in the league? They are 10th. So they finished proper mid-table this season. So hopefully they're a little bit worse than they've been. Hopefully they're very tired. But today we are going to be coming up against Lazio in the Europa Conference League. We're going to play that. Then we'll have a look at the league table and have a look at the players in terms of who's performed well, etc., this season. So, the Europa Conference League final. A couple of injuries we're dealing with. Lorenz, but he's not registered anyway, but 2 registered players. Our main goalkeeper is out injured, another 10 days to 3 weeks. And one of our main central defenders, Moan, has been out with a hip injury for 6 months. A little bit annoying. So we don't have a full bench, which is a little bit pathetic. Just putting that out there. But I think we are going to go... See, do we go with this or do we start with this tactic? I think we're going to start the game with this more defensive tactic. I also think Bastions, who's playing a 6.62 in the last 5 games, I'm going to actually take him off, and we are going to start a player who's been with us for many years in Sotte on the right wing, because I actually think he could do a better job there. So I think we're going to go with Lunin in goal, because Hansen's out injured, which is a bit annoying. Larson at right back, who he's pretty much cemented himself now ahead of Fanny. I just think in the big games he performs better. And he's 6'2", 208 appearances for us now since he joined. But Fanny at right back, we're going to go with Jurgensen, Holter and Scallon as our back 4. Helland in defensive mid, because Pereira's only 83% fit and Helland's been playing fairly well at 6.96. Sotter on the right wing, Knapskog, Helmonen, Apaya, and then Sotter up top, who has just been insane. And Urshal, as you can see, only has 1 goal this season, where Sotter has 13. So he has really been justifying playing in that deep line forward position. But yeah, I think we're going to start with this tactic, and if we need to, we can go a bit more offensive. But for now, let's stick with this. And if we do go more offensive, we can bring on Urshal on the right wing as an inside forward. So here we go. Egersund versus Lazio. 48,000 tickets sold. They are playing a wing-back tactic. Okay. I do worry that maybe our defensive tactic will just keep ourselves very solid here. We'll see. We can't fill the bench, which is a bit upsetting, as I say. And missing our first choice keeper is definitely not the best position to be in going into this game. So we are 2-1. The draw's 5-2 and Lazio just 6-5 favourites. We have 3 wins, a defeat and a draw in the last 5 games. They have 1 win, 2 defeats and 2 draws. We preferred formation is 4-3-3. This is a 5-2-1-2. Do we want to always mark him tightly? Do we always want to make him tight? Mark him tight. That's the attacking mid. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's nullify that. Pump fists. I know we're the underdogs, but let's go out there and give the fans a performance to believe in. Will we see any changes to your first team? As always, we'll analyse the player's fitness. Can you give instructions? Nope, I'm not going to tell you how we're going to play. So here we are. You can see how they are lining up. Back 3, then 4 in front of that. Then Zakani, Kouassi and Pudel up top. I do need to fix the faces. Also, I need to show you the kits because I've created new kits for Egersund as well. Which I need to get in the game. I need to speak to Acid Fire. He can fix that for me. But the players come out. Our first... I honestly didn't... Remember, last year we didn't qualify for European competition. If we win this, we're in Europe next season. So we still qualified, which is nice. You know, do it the hard way and all that. Okay, come on. Lazio passing it around in defence. Are we just going to let them have it in defence? I guess so, and just hope that we can win it back in our half. Oh, Luna with the save. They do drive forward in the first 2 minutes. Let's just give an encouraged shout. Bit of motivation. Zakani puts the corner in. Deep to the back post. We do get it away. Sorter now is going to pick it up on the counter-attack. He drives forward. They get back, but knock it out, we do get the throw in. You can see one of the kits I've designed in the top left corner and it's looking nice in the game. So we need to head over to the club screen after this and have a look at that because it does look nice. Right, here we go. Scallon now for us. Goes forward to Paya, inside to Soto, who tries to reverse pass to Paya, it just doesn't work. So we are dropping back into shape. I'm just hoping we can outnumber them in defensive mid. Oh, they are in and I do see how that happened. Hopefully they offside, but I do see exactly what we did wrong there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Helland and he needs to be marking him because I saw straight away that one of our centre-backs pushed up to press him, and when he pushed up, the space behind was for the attacker. Please be offside. That goes awarded. So we are going to push up a bit, but then I'm going to tell him to mark him. Okay, there we go. Right. See, watch here. When it comes in there, our defender pushed up, and straight away the ball is behind. Quick 1-2 pass. It was actually Zucchini who got him behind, but our defender pushed up when he just should have stayed where he was. There's no reason to have pushed up like he did. Hey, come on. We do need to remember Lazio by far a better team than us, but we still have a chance in a 90-minute game. Right, Knapsku goes out wide to Larson. Good first touch forward. Larson inside to Sorter. Sorter with a chance, with an opportunity to make it 1-1. It's half time now. Egersund 0, Lazio 1. It's time for F1 to dig deep. Come on. Let's just up our tempo. Up the tempo. And Sorter can come off for Urshal. We will go with the inside forward now on the right hand side. See if that slightly more offensive gameplay can get us back into this game. Oh, Apaya's picked up a knock. Oh no. What injury is it? Knee ligaments. You are joking me. He's affected by the injury, so he needs to come off. I think we will go with Hilm, just because it then keeps the width on one side with the inside forward coming in on the other. And that type of play, if I have one winger cutting in, I want the other staying wide to provide them crosses, and it does work quite well like that. So I think Hilm coming in on the left, he's done it quite a few games. He does do it well. Okay, Lazio playing around just inside their own half. Come on. Come on, can we get the ball and counter them here? They down the left-hand side now. They whip it inside, just outside the box. They go back, forward again, back again. They're just passing it around. They're working us, basically. Basically, they are working us. Right, there's 18 minutes to go. I'm just going to go a lot more direct and very attacking, because at this point we need to try to see if we can do something here. There's 10 minutes to go. After all the build-up, Sorter's had a very quiet game, so I'm going to bring on Vinicius. Pereira I'm going to bring on in defensive mid for fresh legs. In Knapskog, I'm going to take off for Bastions again, just due to fresh legs. We need fresh legs the last 10 minutes. Chasing that ball down. Come on. Come on. I'm not going to be able to shout until the 90th minute. It does look like our first ever European final is ending in defeat. We lost the game 1-0. We were in the fight. We didn't have any big chances. We didn't create much. But we took a side who is well off being challengers for the league to a European Cup final. And losing to Lazio is no shame. We're only in 2030. We're not in 2040. In 10 years' time, maybe we'll be competing against these teams. But for now, I'm fairly pleased with how we did. Unlucky, boys. You got to a cup final. Also, we can mention we didn't get in Europe for the next season, so the next 12 months we don't have any European football. We can focus on the league, and we raked in a good amount of money from this run. 2.5 million just for getting to the final and losing. Okay. 56k from the television money. We got 161k from the coefficient pool. So financially, we had 11 million in the bank. We got 1.3 million in gate receipts. So we also got money from the gate receipts from that game as well. So financially, that's a massive boost when it comes to maybe in 2 years' time us looking at building our own stadium. We have the money in the bank, which is insanely positive. Insanely positive. My aim now will be to keep that balance always above 10 million. If I can do that for the next 2 years, till we're back in Europe and then get above 50 million, then above 20, then I'm very, very happy. In terms of how that helped us coefficient-wise then, we got 12.5 points this season, moving us up to 52.225 for next season, which is well clear of anyone below us. We will be a point behind Austria, 3 points behind Denmark, but the fact is we are now a top 11 who is pulling away from everyone below us, which is huge. We are losing a 10.125 season next year, but you can see the last couple have been really positive, so hopefully the clubs can progress next year in the season. We are not in Europe, which is sad news, but long term, if we can keep doing well in Europe, it could help us get in that top 10 quite quickly, which is really positive news. I did want to show you the kits. So these are the new kits now, sponsored by Northman and the Grand Hotel, both local businesses. Visit Egersund on the left, and B&G, again another major big business, is going to be a sleeve sponsor on both kits. We've gone with the yellow with some black lines on this home one, and a white with a dirt black paint splash on the away kit, which I quite like both of them. Hopefully you do too. So we spoke about the league results. Let's have a look how the league table is looking. We are sitting in third place at the minute. We've got 26 points, won 8, drew 2, lost 2. I'm very positive with how we're looking. I think we can push on. Let's remember, some of these games we've rested players for due to the European run. Now it is league focus only all the way through the end of the season. So in my opinion, I want to secure a top 3. Top 3, I think, I would be very pleased with. And let's be honest, maybe it's time that we try to push on and get to a cup final. Maybe it would be nice if the next episode is a cup final live come. Look at that, by the way. Europa Conference League runners-up 2030. I'll take that. Looking at the other competitions, by the way, the Europa League was won by Real Betis. And the Champions League is PSG versus Real Madrid. Now, one thing I did wonder, past winners-wise, I definitely know Norwegian side hasn't won the Europa League. Have they ever got to the final of... I'm 99.9% sure they've never got to the final of the Champions League, no. Have they ever got to the final of a Europa League? I'm fairly sure the answer to that is no. Because the only side that might have would be Rosenborg, and they've not even close. By the way, look at that bottom right. In 1957-58, a club called London no longer exists. Finished runners-up in the Europa League. It might be time for me to investigate who that was. But now when I go back and look at this, can we acknowledge that us as Egersund are the first Norwegian club ever to make it to a European Cup final? I've been Paul, also known as the Northman, and I forgot something. Scouting. Shortlists. First off, Patrons. If you do want to become a patron, you're still watching this later in a video, you probably enjoy my content and want to drop a donation or become a monthly subscriber to the channel in terms of contributing. Link is down below. If you do become a patron or give a monthly buy me a coffee, you do get a player in the game. Dan Finch is a patron. He is now a Fiorentina. So we've got his history. He went from Copenhagen, went on to Napoli for 8.5, then Leo for 6.5, and now Fiorentina for 6.5. He's not scoring goals though, and he is transfer listed. He's on a little bit too much money for me, to be honest, but Finchy, a Faroe Islands national player, 36 caps. He is 21 years old now. I mean, I'd have him. I would happily sign him. Can't afford his wages, but I'd happily sign him. But he is looking good. Now, in terms of former players, Mayland is still at San Azulf. So we've got his history. After leaving us, he went to Brand, then San Azulf, so he is still in the local area. Philippe Opreya, I've been trying to get him back, guys. I would like him back as our left back. He was so good, rating-wise. But he just wants too much wage. He wants like 8,000 a week. So we'll keep monitoring it, but for now we just can't afford it. And then you have Midskogen's now gone on to Lyngby. They were the three players watching. I will actually go through and add a few more to that. So next time we can keep a better eye on that. And just quickly, you can see I've got quite a few players shortlisted at the minute, and my recruitment focus is still going on, looking at potential Africans, Scandic Wonder Kids, potential Africans again. I've got 2 African scouts at the minute, European kids to check out, some Danish youth because they were starting to develop some big talent, and some South American ones as well. Just trying to see if we can pick up some absolute gems. If you want to see more of that in the next episode, I can dive deeper. But I've been Paul, also known as the Northman. I'll try it again. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.